Did you know that Bartholomew Kuma was actually seen on Dressrosa? It's one of those wild stories that very few people know about because it all plays out in the background. Essentially though, in chapter 785, a desperate mother is looking for her child amongst all of the flamingo-induced chaos, and she cries, "Has anyone seen my son? He's only 5 and wearing a bear shirt." The Japanese word for bear, of course, being Kuma, so this mother is looking for a child with a Kuma shirt. So when the emotional mother is finally reunited with her son, it is revealed that her son was indeed wearing a Bartholomew Kuma shirt. Hello and welcome to the Grand Line Review, your source for everything One Piece. My name is Liam and this video is packed full of One Piece secrets that you probably didn't know. For example, Kuma was not the only warlord of the sea who made an appearance during Dressrosa when he did not in fact belong there. A sneaky crocodile also did a bit of a and made his face known, this time during Trafalgar Law's flashback. So just prior to being stabbed by a very angry child, Rocinante was enjoying his daily newspaper. And on the front cover of that paper is Crocodile's face. And according to Eiichiro Oda, he was already a warlord at the time, and this article was reporting on an act of heroism, because at the time Crocodile was hunting down pirates to gain global trust, specifically that of the Alabaster Kingdom. And by the way, this handsome image of Crocodile was drawn by one of our channel artists. And 3 lucky subscribers from this video are going to win a custom artwork requesting whatever they'd like, whether it's a female Frankie, a delicious pot of Odin, or even a cracked Tamago. To win, simply be subscribed to this channel and leave a 1-sentence comment with your art request. And yes, you do need to be subscribed because YouTube shows me a little red dot next to your name, so look, you can't fool me. You'll also receive a high-quality digital copy of your request, as well as have it featured in future videos, becoming part of Grand Line Review history. Also, this video is sponsored by Raid Shadow Legends, the game that has taken over all of the gaming, bringing a true console experience to your teeny tiny phone device. Now, one of the best parts about Raid is the sheer quantity of glorious champions. One of my favorites being Ursula the Mourner, whose 5 stages of grief include denial, anger, bargaining, stabbing someone ferociously with like a very sharp stick, and then finally acceptance. Then there's also Coroner, a tanksome unit with phenomenal attack and some very ornate flower decorations, because one can be both brutal and beautiful. This month in Raid, things are happening, including new champions, an update to Tag Arena, and a full schedule of events and tournaments. Raid is currently running a special Deliana Chase event where you can get yourself said Deliana simply by logging in and playing Raid for 7 days between now and July 20th. Just hit the link in the description and you'll get free champions, Misericord, Tiger Soul, and Romero, 10 Magic XP Brew, 10 Force XP Brew, and 10 Spirit XP Brew, which I dare say is enough brewing materials to start your own distillery. For new players, once you're in game, just enter promo code MyDeliana and get rewards to boost this champ. Simple. Good luck, Shadow Raiders. Back to you. Me. Now, are you ready for one of the massive, not so secret secrets in the series? And look, I'm going to be honest, I don't care if you're ready or not. Because Shanks is the father of Makino's baby. And Oda has actually directly posed this question in an SBS, because we as readers seem to have this rather intense desire to know whose semen fertilized whose egg. And Oda responded with, probably that man, which very much limits our baby-making candidates to 2. The eligible bachelors in Makino's life essentially boil down to Shanks and Whoopslap. Everyone else is either too young or simply too irrelevant. So film Red Shanks' daughter be damned, because this child here is the true spawn of Shanks. For something a little more covert though, did you know that there is actually an entirely secret race in the One Piece world? And it consists of individuals with very long, very thick heads. Just as we have long arm, long leg, and snake neck humans, we also have a very sneaky group of long heads. The one that we've seen the most being Fukurokuju on Wano. But a member with a bit more name recognition is actually Dr. Vegapunk himself, who sports a very aubergine-esque silhouette. And then of course there's Strawberry. A lot of people have this tendency to think that Strawberry's tall, slender head is something of a fashion statement, a false head, if you will, for some reason. I don't know why you would do that, but people do weirder things in One Piece, so whatever. But in reality, it's just one old big noggin thing. But speaking of this Vice Admiral, if there's one group that has a whole host of secrets, it is indeed the Marines. And here's something that I guarantee 99.9% of you did not know. The Marines have some very specific rituals. In particular, every Friday they consume a dish known as Marine curry. And this takes inspiration from a real-world practice where Marines eat the same thing every Friday so that they can keep track of the week. And Marines in One Piece eat a very standardized seafood curry every Friday, although in a certain Shells town, a certain Enrica makes a variant of this curry, a special sweet and mild curry that is exceptionally popular. And this goes all the way to the top, because even the admirals are notorious curry-consuming fiends. And whilst they're still mostly shrouded in a thick serving of mystery fog, we do have quite a bit of insight into their backgrounds. Specifically that each of our original 3 admirals all came from very, very humble beginnings. Each of them seemed to have come from a poverty-stricken situation, wearing tattered clothes, and in Kuzan's case, it is implied that he was both homeless and an alcoholic before he was even tall enough to ride a big boy roller coaster. And I think that's quite interesting because a lot of Marines seem to come from fairly wealthy backgrounds, but the ones who end up really climbing the ranks tend to be the ones with the most tragic backstories. But now, penguins. Because in the post-time skip era, Kuzan has adopted a penguin named Camel, which I think is notable because camels are not penguins. But Camel is a very special penguin though, and is actually a member of a species known as the super penguin. And whilst Camel can both swim and cook, he tends to be every bit as lazy as his master. And quite frankly, it's a miracle that they get anything at all done together. Also, the name doesn't come from Camel the animal. Also, the name doesn't come from Camel the animal, but rather Camel the cigarettes, which were a brand featured in Detective Story, smoked by Yusaku Matsuda, also known as the visual inspiration for Kuzan's character. To all government gossip now, and do you remember Hannibal? He's the curiously, satanic kind of creature who now holds the position of Chief Warden of Impel Down after Magellan got demoted due to doing a bad job at his job. But Hannibal has some, how shall we say, rather scandalous secrets. After being seduced by Bon Clay, Hannibal channeled his inner Sadi and was promptly tied up, with one, perhaps two, keen-eyed reader noticing that Hannibal was wearing strawberry underwear, as in the pattern, not the flavor, although I guess it could have also been the flavor, I don't know. But naturally, this reader had to consult with story sage Eiichiro Oda, at which point Oda revealed that Hannibal is actually an obsessive novelty underwear collector. Oda also went on to detail Hannibal's prized underwear patterns and types, which include flowers, huge breasts, pink mushrooms, frills, a loincloth, something described as a super bikini, and the crown jewel of this collection, an undergarment known simply as Mr. Elephant. But the world government has no shortage of scandals. And in fact, before the Straw Hats invaded Enies Lobby, CP9 member Jabra was the talk of the island, due to having recently been dumped by a waitress named Gatharin, a completely miscellaneous character that frankly we know entirely too much about, including the fact that she only cares about men for their looks, and that Gatharin dumped Jabra because she heard that Rob Lucci was returning to Enies Lobby and was hoping for a bit of crazy carnivorous cat intercourse. It gets weirder though, like so much weirder. And I guess apparently not a lot happens on Enies Lobby because this was being talked about by everyone. And when I say everyone, I also mean everything. So much so that when we are introduced to the dog unit, there are two curious canines over here, not at all focused on the job it is that they should be doing. Luckily for us, Eiichiro Oda eavesdropped and translated what these puppers were saying. And it goes a little something like this. So, Left Dog says, "I heard Jabra from CP9 got dumped by Gatharin." To which Right Dog replies, really? Lol. And that is 100% canine canon. I know, it sounds like something dumb that I would have just made up because that's what I do, but sometimes that's just One Piece. And recently a fascinating decision from the world government was revealed in regards to bounties. Certain documents arose, by which I mean a chapter came out, that placed Kaido's bounty at 70 million berries when he was a mere 13 years old. Which I love because it means that in equal stages of their life, Nico Robin once had a higher bounty than Kaido. When both of them were 13, Kaido had a 70 million berry bounty, and Robin trumped that with the much more bigger 79 million. Although to be fair, Big Mom absolutely trounced both of them and had a bounty of 500 million berries well before she was even 13. Still, it makes me respect Robin's threat a hell of a lot more in retrospect. Robin being quite literally the only Straw Hat who was not planned to be a crew member from the very beginning of the series. Which is wild because even the notoriously late Jinbei had a guaranteed spot on the crew from day one. And originally it looks like Robin was going to be replaced by this little floating dude guy with a net. And I think I can speak for all, or maybe not all, but most of us, I feel like most of us, when I say that Robin was a very, very happy accident in comparison. For someone who was meticulously planned now though, here is Boa Hancock. And she was first introduced into the manga in 2008. Except that is a lie. Because Boa Hancock in fact first debuted debuted in 1999. She made an appearance on the cover of Weekly Shonen Jump alongside several other early concepts for One Piece villains, and apparently this was because Oda's editors really wanted to hype up that grand line. So they asked him to draw several villains that were going to appear later. And in this case, look, later turned out to be 9 years later, but hey, Oda still delivered. Although Bola Hancock's design was the only one that would eventually come to fruition. It's been speculated that this one could have been an early design of Broggy or even Kaido, or that this guy could have been an early Mr. 5, and well, as for the third one, your guess is as good as mine. But this was also reprinted in Color Walk 2, and if I can find it, in which we can see their depiction in all of their obscure glory. But Bola Hancock's design was so locked in that Oda even referenced her in Logtown when Nami was trying on various outfits. And she's far from the only character that Logtown gave us, because this arc also has the very first depiction of Sabo. In chapter 98, when Luffy is caught by Buggy, the commotion catches the attention of a suspiciously Sabo-dressed man. And then in chapter 99, we get a look at him from another angle, and if this is not Sabo, then it is a ridiculous coincidence. But it probably is, because we know that Dragon was in Logtown at the time, so why not a few other members of the Revolutionary Army as well? And it's interesting because I imagine that if Luffy was successfully executed, then Sabo probably would have tragically regained his memories right then and there, just like he did when he found out about Ace's death, and thus changed the course of One Piece as we know it. Oh, and just while we're on things changing, my eyes were cursed with this, so yours are going to be as well. Queen is almost certainly my favorite member of the Beast Pirates. I very much enjoy his and so on and so forth. And one lyric in particular reads, "If I get any thinner, I'll steal all your hearts. So I choose the way I am." Which, does beg the question of what kind of handsome beast Queen would become if he didn't choose this rather rotund form for the sake of all of us. Well, question no longer, because Oda has provided the answer. And I should warn you in advance, just keep control of yourself, because you are about to have your heart stolen by Thin Queen. And just look at this perfect specimen of a dinosaur man. But don't look too long, because I don't actually think I can keep that image up for too long, actually. Or else YouTube is probably going to flag me for overly erotic content. Meanwhile, did you know that Chopper also has a secret form? During Any Slobby, we were introduced to the idea that Chopper can eat a maximum of 3 Rumble Balls in quick succession, with the third one turning him into Monster Chopper. Except that word maximum is more of a limitation that we as readers put on ourselves. So I ask you, what would happen if Chopper were to eat 4 Rumble Balls? And according to Oda, when Chopper eats 3 Rumble Balls, his Devil Fruit powers go wild. However, when he eats 4 Rumble Balls, the author goes wild. And he accompanies this with Chopper's 4th ball form, which is almost as hot as Thin Queen. And for more steamy erotic content, maybe, then here's another video. It may or may not be arousing, but either way, I look forward to seeing you there.